Welcome to Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. I'm going to go out and refresh one of my fall beds and put some hoops over it, but I'm also going to continue to practice low dig or no till gardening and show you a little bit of the benefits of that. Let's go take a look. This bed will be coming out this weekend because we have a nice cool front coming, and it will be perfect gardening weather. Looking forward to that. So we're going to come in here and pull out all these cowpeas. We're going to pull out those peppers after we do our last harvest. Okay, so we've cleared out this bed. This bed had peppers in it right in here, and then all down there had cowpeas in it. And earlier this spring we had cucumbers in that section over there. And so we're ready to refresh this bed for the fall. There's a bunch of the mulch that I pulled off of that garden. It's largely oak leaves, but you can see it's got weeds in it. It's got these morning glories, which I like the morning glories, but they are problematic. It's probably got all kinds of other seeds and weeds down in here. So I don't know what to do with this just yet. If I compost it, I can get some good compost out of it. It'll probably import some weed seeds. But if I use it as mulch again, same thing. I'll have more weeds. I don't know yet what I'm going to do with that. It's a good bucket full. I got another bucket full here, and this is good stuff actually. This has been composting, and if I dig down, you can see that it's breaking down real nicely, and there's earthworms in there, and yeah, this is good stuff right here. Over the years, I've been trying to practice no-till, no-dig gardening. My problem has been I haven't been able to get enough compost to amend my beds properly. The key to no-dig gardening is you're adding 3 inches or so of compost each year to your soil, and that's a lot of compost. I can't afford to go buy the stuff. I don't trust the stuff at the store anymore now that aminopyralids are a real danger to your crops. So I have to make it, and only this year have I upped my compost game where I can make enough compost. But I'm not going to have enough for the fall garden. I have to wait till spring. So what I'm going to do is compensate for my lack of 3 inches of compost by doing one of the jobs the compost does for you when you have it in abundance. And that means having to loosen up the soil myself. Now that does destroy some of the networks of fungi down in that soil. The mycorrhizal fungi network is very beneficial, and that's one of the benefits of no-dig gardening, is you preserve the biology, the fungi especially, but they'll recover. They're a living organism and they're very resilient, and they will recover. So I'm going to have to break up the soil a bit and put some air channels in it because it's a little more compact than it should be had I had enough compost to amend the soil naturally. I aim to get to full no-dig gardening in the future, but currently I haven't been able to. There's still a benefit in sheet mulching with lesser amounts of compost. It's still amends your soil. It's the best stuff for your soil. It does work its way down into your soil, but it doesn't work its way down into your soil in the same manner as if you put in 3 inches or more of compost on top and plant them directly into that. All right, so here's our soil in our bed. And we have torched it, and the torching does destroy surface weeds. It also destroys a little bit of the surface biology, but I mean, we're just talking surface, ½ inch deep. But this soil has not really been tilled for years. This is a no-till bed, low-till bed, but this soil is soft and loamy, and I can dig it with my hands. And you can see in here, there's all these roots left behind. These are pepper plant roots. And these roots will be allowed to just compost in place. And you can see there's tons of organic material in here from sheet mulching and putting mulch on here, from putting compost on here. It's very friable. It just breaks apart in your hands just like that. This is what we want. We want the soil to be loose, and I don't really need to go and till this soil, because if I dig down in the soil, you can see that it's soft and loamy and there's organic stuff in there. It just breaks apart. If I go and till this, I'm going to destroy all there's a fungal network that's key to low till or no dig gardening, and Charles Dowding in the UK talks a lot about this. The fungal networks in here are perhaps one of the largest organisms on Earth. They network out in your soil, and that network has a symbiotic relationship with the roots of your plants. It really helps them grow. He's estimated that he gets maybe a 5% better harvest over the years with no dig as opposed to his dug beds, and he's been doing that for at least 11 years. And but the key is you get less weeds and you don't have to work as hard. I don't have to come out and till this bed. I just keep layering my organic material on top of it, and I let the life in the soil take all this organic material down in there. So what I'm doing here is just forking the bed, and that means just sticking the fork in about halfway and rocking the fork back and forth. And I'm pulling up chunks, but I'm not turning them over, and then I'll loosen the bed a bit because I'm having to compensate. I'm having to compensate for my lack of volume of compost. If you add 3 inches or so of compost on top of this bed, that stuff's going to work itself down into the soil, and you won't have to loosen it at all. It'll loosen naturally. But since I haven't had to do that, I've got to do a little bit of that natural process myself. And so that's what we're doing here, just loosening the bed, not turning, not tilling. Large, big chunks of the mycorrhizal fungi colony in there is being left intact, so it will repopulate and reconnect with all the other large chunks. But what I'm doing is just putting some air channels into this soil and loosening the soil up to receive plants and to prepare the bed. It's really easy, but notice I'm not having to go and till this whole garden up. It's really easy work. Now, my practices to this point have been actually beneficial. To put an inch or so of compost on here is why I don't really have to go and till this whole bed, but because I haven't had enough of that compost, I have had to come in and open up air channels. Even as the sun bakes this stuff and it gets a little crispy on top, you go just under the surface and it's nice and rich and maintains the moisture level really well because of the compost that's in here. So one of the benefits of sheet composting or amending your soils with compost, even if you till it in, is that the soil really retains moisture really well. I can squeeze that together and the lumps that come from just under the surface stay together. Yeah, this is good stuff right here. Once the ground is forked and we've got the bed all ready to go, I just rake it smooth. Well, that's a big difference, isn't it? We're ready to plant now. I'm going to put some hoops, some covers over this, and we're going to plant some cabbages and cauliflower in there. All right, well, thank you for joining me on Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. I really appreciate you subscribing. If you haven't subscribed already, follow us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. And we're really grateful for all the views we've had in this fall. So thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.